Okay, welcome back. And our guest this morning on TVC is Senator Shehu Sani, a well-known Nigerian politician. Even if you didn't know him politically, if you happen to be on Twitter, you would have no shortage of knowledge about his various positions and opinions on things. Thank you very much, Senator Sani, for being with us this morning. Let's look at contemporary contemporary political climate in Nigeria. A number of things are happening. Ostensibly, it's about running the country, administration, reducing corruption, and all of that. And here I'm talking about the central bank and its policies. As you know, it's redesigned the naira, and it has a new policy about withdrawal limits and that kind of a thing. The National Assembly has discussed it in the House of Representatives. They've looked at it. I think they've even invited the central bank, the president or the chairman of the central bank. I wonder what you think, especially the argument I heard in the House of Representatives, pending when they will meet with the Senate, that it is in the language of the PRP, the talakawas, the ordinary people, the people in the rural areas who will really suffer from this. And at the same time, it is thought that it will somehow stem criminality. If you make money hard to access, then people, dubious people trying to make you access that money by way of ransoms or those kind of things, their life will not be as easy as it is. Give me your thoughts on the whole idea as, if I may say so, probably a social critic.
Well, first of all, what we need to understand is that the CBN is operating like a republic within a republic. The enabling law that empowers the CBN have simply created a state within a state where the CBN governor only needs the consent of the president to do whatever he wants to do. And in a situation where you only have that kind of one way or two people's decision, you need a president that is well conscious and enlightened about financial matters, about the banking system, about fiscal policies, about all these details, the relationship between our financial system and the social system and the economic system. If you have a president who has a very limited knowledge of the banking sector and the relationship between banking and the social well-being of the masses of the people, so all you will have is a governor of a bank coming with a file and lecturing the president, and the president will simply append his signature there. And this is what is happening today.
Is that the impression you have of the president's knowledge of the banking system?
The law that established the CBN, I don't think the president has enough knowledge of what is happening there, because you can only understand that by the kind of interview. Have you yourself, as a journalist, have you ever heard where the president, in all the comments and questions he has been asked throughout his political life, ever given any enlightened opinion or enlightened view or enlightened position on Nigerian banking system or global banking system or the economic system? The president is more centered on the issue of corruption. If you ask him about aviation, he will say corruption. Water, he will say corruption. Environment, he will say corruption. So you see, this is the kind of leader that we have for now. So if you have an enlightened and well-educated president, one that knows economics very well, one does know banking system very well, well, the CBN governor cannot always have his way. But keep that aside, first of all. You see, the law that established the CBN that excludes the breaks and checks CBN governor only moved to the villa, got approval from the president, and simply redesigned the naira. The Minister of Finance tried to raise an issues about that, and she was shouted down on the fact that the president has approved. And after the approval, now the Senate comically organized a debate on the issue of redesigning of the naira. Well, the decision has been made even without their consent and without their knowledge. They just read it somewhere. Secondly, the Senate set up a committee on what they call investigating the disbursement of development bank funds. The governor of Central Bank was invited. He refused to honor the invitation, together with other key figures heading the official banking system. They refused to honor. And this time around, I learned that the Senate is going to debate the issue on Tuesday. But so far, the House of Reps has courageously and boldly sent a message to the CBN governor and the CBN that the policy of limiting cash withdrawal should be reversed. And we hope the Senate will do that. But from all indication, I think each time the governor of the central bank gets his approval from the president, he behaves that he doesn't need anybody. Well, in our own time at the 8th Senate, it is not possible for people holding position in the MDAs or anywhere for you to treat the National Assembly with such contempt. But when parliamentarians behave that they are always ready to do the bidding of the executive, they always presented themselves as being subservient, and they are ready to approve anything they want to get the praises from the executive. This is what happens. So if you can remember, at the 8th National Assembly, how we dealt with the customs issue, how we dealt with the issue of humanitarian crisis in the northeastern part of Nigeria, that is how a parliament is supposed to be, to hold the executive to account and to make sure that whatever is done needs to be done right. But so far now, the CBN governor and his banking lords have taken a decision. So the opinions of the two chambers seems not to be of any value as long as he has gotten the approval of Mr. President. Okay. But what we need to understand is how small businesses will be affected. There are young people today that are operating this POS, and we are still a developing country. We shouldn't forget that, because sometimes we simply see what is happening in Germany, France, Netherlands, and Norway, and say we are simply going to adopt it. This is a country with about 133 million people who are living below poverty line. With such debt, our industries, almost 80% of them are down. There's so much poverty and insecurity in this country. So whatever policy you are going to bring should be the one that will alleviate poverty and further empower the poor. But the poor in Nigeria today are rising. Not just 133 million, but there is a prediction that as time goes on, we're heading to 200 million people. And in a nation with such large number of poor, you know that peace will be elusive. So the CBN governor should know that he is not the CBN governor of United States or the CBN governor of Netherlands or Poland. He is the CBN governor of Nigeria, a poor country, one that has a lot of challenges, and one that which policies and programs should be designed in such a way that it's not going to worsen the situation of the poor and the indigent in the society, in which we have hundreds of millions of them now.
Although the response to sort of the outcry, according to one of the headlines in this morning on the paper on the newspaper, is we won't be rigid on cash withdrawal limit, but the policy stays. So in that context, I was going to ask you if you see any merit in the notion that, look, the corruption thing that you spoke about, this particular policy, if it is carried out, could indeed lead to the desired effect of discouraging, criminals from causing fantastic withdrawals and that kind of thing generally. Also politicians, it is thought, who might want to be doing the wrong thing with funds that are theirs, but by the time you withdraw them at a certain stage, the suspicion, of course, is that vote buying and all of that. Do you see any merit at all in the other side of the argument, which a lot of people have said is outweighed by the suffering of the small, holders of accounts? Do you see any merit in the attempt?
Well, in all the submissions being made by the proponents of cash restriction, they have not been hammering on restricting or limiting the influence of money in politics. But in general sense, if anything we can do that will discourage or make it impossible politicians to buy votes from the electorates, I think it's a welcome development. But there should be innovative ways in which whatever actions we take will not have consequences on the economic lives of poor people who have simply, most of them are voters. So I think the statement he made that it's not going to be rigid, what does that mean? You have a policy in which you said if one goes beyond a certain limit, he will either pay 5% or 10% penalty for such withdrawal. And if you are not going to be rigid, it means that you don't have actual, you want to simply play both sides. Because if you have a policy, it remains a policy. If one withdraws beyond 100,000, he's going to be charged 5% or 10%. That should either be or it should not be. So you can't be sitting on the fence. You want to satisfy both sides. The position of the House of Reps is what I shared, that the policy should be reversed. And 100,000, everyone knows that in a situation where we are today, it can't, 20,000 naira per day for this kind of situation we are in. And every person you see is a representative of thousands of people in a typical African family setup. So I think there should be a reconsideration to that. Meanwhile, those who have money to share are mostly those in government and or those who are aligned with government. And I don't think their monies are usually kept in Nigerian currency. So I am of the belief that the CBN governor and those who are in support of this have not taken cognizance of the implications of it, simply because it's going to be a one-way thing. How did we arrive at this? It's simply the idea of the CBN, and then they take it to the president for approval. But these are issues that should be made open to Nigerians. For example, even the redesigning of the naira. The CBN could have come out with a competition and said, people with creative ideas should come up with their own designs, and then we will choose from the arrays of this buffet of this design, and then we now have a design that comes from the Nigerian people. And even on the issue of restriction, open it for debate. Let there be debate in the State Assembly, National Assembly, and the Senate and House of Reps, and the social media. And then you now have superior ideas. But we can't continue to live by the ideas of MFLA and then taken to a president who has a very limited knowledge of financial system to sign, and then it will be fed on Nigerians hook, line, and sinker. I don't think that is the right thing to do.
Okay. As you must have read, the DSS has waded into the whole matter of fuel shortage. Interesting, because they've given marketers 48 hours. Now, I don't know how it is in what your experience has been. You're reaching us from Abuja. I don't know if it has been as tough for you as it has been for many, many places around the country. But giving them 48 hours seems to indicate that from the position of intelligence, perhaps, they know that this is a doable proposition. And quite frankly, people are not too sure why there is this shortage suddenly all over the place. But give me your thoughts on that. Now being given marching orders, that in 48 hours, they would like to see a return to normalcy. Give me your comments.
Well, even though I have not worked in the oil industry, but I have my views, and my views are this. 90% of the problem we are facing today is not caused by the NNPC, it's been caused by petroleum marketers. They don't import PMS. They buy it from one sole importer. So they have no problem of saying the dollar has gone up or it has come down. They are the ones who are holding the goods. They are the ones who are fixing illegal prices. They are the ones who are sabotaging the system. Most of these fuel stations are owned by people who are profiteering whenever there is a shortage and whenever there is a queue. The queue is not one that is natural. It's artificially created by the marketers. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, since it has been transformed from a government-owned outfit to a limited liability public company, I believe it has done a lot in terms of what we can see from the time the Petroleum Act started operating to now. We have seen how they were able to enter into agreements with global role players, the pipeline from Nigeria to Algeria, Nigeria to Morocco. We have seen the resolve in terms of exploring oil. Efforts have been made to end theft of our oil at the shores. And I think I can only say kudos to Kyari and the management team of the NNPC and perhaps the minister. And by extension, this is one area that has been achieved. And I'm 100% opposed to any attempt by any presidential candidate, including my own, to sell the NNPC, because the NNPC should work like Aramco. It's driven, is making some modest profit. And whoever takes our power should build upon these legacies, and then we can achieve more. So for now, I'm happy what the DSS are doing. And DSS should go after these marketers, the police should join, and even the army should join. We can't be held hostage as a country by people who are trying to make money and destroy the country. All they want to do is to make more money while people are suffering. And this has been the culture whenever the year is coming to an end and the Christmas season is here, knowing that people are going to travel. So I am very much in support of that. And they shouldn't just call a meeting with all the leaders or the marketers, but they should go to the fuel station and enforce. And Nigerians too should also do that, insist that the official price must be adhered to. So that is my view on that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Senator Shehu Sani. Now we have just a few moments left, and even though we wanted to speak with you, get your position, your views on some of these things, now to your presidential candidate. One, what do you think about his chances, especially when you compare it with the opposition of the G5? Give me your thoughts on that. How much of an intractable problem do you think it is? Is the going pretty heavy as a result of the fallout with the G5 that you know very well?
Well, first of all, let me make a little analysis on the political parties. Well, there is no political party today out of the major four that does not have headache and heartache. The NNPP is limited to Kano and some few states in the north. The APC has its problem in the sense that Christians are seen it to have analyzed them with a Muslim ticket, and that is also a monster they have to deal with. And as for a Labour Party, it's also been to be a candidate of a section of the country with a certain fanatical followership. And then as for the PDP, the problem is internal. Others may be external, but the problem of PDP is internal. Internal in the sense that the 5 governors have decided to withdraw their support from the presidential candidate of the party. And the danger of this is the fact that it is going to affect the fortunes of the party and also going to affect the fortunes of our presidential candidate. But notwithstanding, the party should not be held hostage by a group of people. Primaries was conducted transparently, and Waziri won. So it is incumbent on all party members, both those who are chieftains and those at the lower level, to support the candidate of their party. But today, you see them wandering from one place to another. It's either today they are giving their support to Aswaju, or tomorrow they will change to Peter Obi. Next tomorrow they will say that they are open for reconciliation and things like that. I think it will be in the interest of these 5 to return to the party and support their presidential candidate. Because the tragedy will be that their party will lose elections, and they cannot be honored and respected and venerated for the fact that they have helped another party to win. If these 5 governors are serious that there is a serious violation of rotation of power, then they should all collectively resolve to say, this is the candidate we are supporting. It happened in the PDP when governors walked out of the PDP convention. They aligned themselves with the party to which Buhari won. So rather than them floating from one place to another, I think in the interest of their own supporters and followers, they should make a decision. If they want to reconcile with Waziri, they should reconcile with Waziri, and then less the PDP won. If they want to support any candidate, they should do that. But it shouldn't be today we are for Aswaju, tomorrow we are for Peter Obi, next tomorrow we are open for reconciliation. And the time is going. We have less than, I think, 70 days to general elections. And this kind of dancing and singing and rigmaroling is not going to be of use, because there will be a certain time they will reach. Even if they have agreed to support a certain candidate, their own followers have made a decision of who they are going to vote. So there is a price for them to pay. As you are moving around, not making, deciding who you are going to vote for, and your strength is your followers, you will turn back and see that your followers have already aligned themselves with a certain candidate. Even if you tell them to come back or to turn the other side, they will not. So there is an implication for that. And again, for the party, there should continuously be contact. They should reach out to them. They are very important for the party. They are very important for presidential candidate of the party. Waziri should continue to reach out to them until a certain point when it is virtually not needed. But I think campaigns are going on now, and I think they are the ones who are indecisive of where they're going to be.
All right.